When you talk about powerful smartphones, especially Android smartphones, you might want to purchase a Samsung or a OnePlus or even an Oppo. But what if I told you that I have with me India's most powerful smartphone as of the filming of this episode, December 2023, pre-Christmas, the only phone in India currently with Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the most powerful chipset on an Android smartphone, and it comes on the iQOO 12. So let's unbox it, and then I'll give you my initial impressions of this device. In terms of branding, you still have the BMW Motorsport branding. Fascination meets innovation is what they're saying. It's very subtle, but it is there. From a distance, you would know what this phone is all about. Now, it houses one of the world's most powerful chipsets, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the first phone in India with this chipset. But if we're talking purely about design, I think it really looks the part, and they've genuinely done a good job with the iQOO 12 in terms of design. Now, when you see some of these symbols and the way the phone is and the fact that it is an iQOO smartphone, you could be prompted to believe that this is meant for gaming because they have a reputation for building very good performance gaming phones. But this time they focused, of course, on the chipset and the design and most importantly, the camera setup. But we'll tell you about the camera in a bit and we'll show you samples as well, so stay tuned. The display is also a key component when it comes to a gaming smartphone. And honestly, the display is a very premium one. It comes with a massive 6.78-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display, and that means a peak brightness of up to 3000 nits. So if you're on bright scenarios, bright settings, this phone's display does a great job as well. Now, in terms of resolution, it's incredibly sharp and it can actually go up all the way from 1 Hz to 144 Hz. What does that mean? A refresh rate which is buttery smooth and it's adaptive as well. So that will help with the battery life while it's still giving you that sort of performance that you need in your everyday life. Now, in terms of audio, there's 2 stereo speakers on this device. And because I don't want any copyright claim, we'll just go to one of our favorite episodes on Tech Today of this episode to see what it sounds like.
I think there is. Maybe that was, maybe COVID shook us all. I'm not sure. But it feels like there's even more energy.
I have to say this, I've been using a foldable and iPhones, and we keep switching phones on Tech Today, but the sound is crystal clear. Now, there's 2 good things about unboxing an Android smartphone. Usually, you get a power brick, and with this, you have a Vivo-powered flash charge 120-watt power brick. So it's going to be fast charging for sure, USB-C to C, because you need a C-type to handle that kind of power. And the second thing that I like is that it comes with this cover. Now, under the hood, this one is running FunTouch OS, which is iQOO's operating system. There's a mixed bag of responses in terms of how that operates. Of course, it works fine on this device. The good thing is, apart from the Pixel 8, which is this device right here, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro, that lineup has Google's latest Android 14. All the cool features from Google come on these devices. But now in India, you also have this flagship killer, so to speak, which comes with FunTouch OS, which is based on Android 14. Now, it has all those basic functionalities that come with Android 14. You know, when people talk about fast charging, there's so many debates about what does it mean for battery health and stuff like that. But if you're not concerned with that, by the way, we have done a detailed video on that and you can find it on Tech Today's platforms. But a 120-watt charger on the iQOO 12 means that this 5000 mAh battery, which is a massive battery, can be charged from 0 to 100 in under 30 minutes. And I think that is quite useful, especially when you're on the go, playing on the go, perhaps editing or creating content or consuming content on the go. But that's of course possible because of fast charging. Something that's possible because of the chipset and the work that their engineering team has done. Now, as I was saying, of course, it is a good gaming smartphone, but the focus this year, I think, has been on the camera, and the camera performs exceptionally well for a phone at this price point. It has a triple camera setup at the back. That means a 50 megapixel main sensor, a 50 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and in terms of telephoto, it's a 64 megapixel telephoto lens where you can take 3x and 10x periscope zoom shots. Just have a look at some of these camera samples from this device. and the portrait mode or some of these telephoto, macro, and all of these modes have done seamlessly well in all of our initial tests. There's also astrophotography on this device, but that's something I don't use much on a smartphone because of all the AI and processing that happens with those features. The video is also fairly decent. If you have a look at our detailed review, you'll know that the camera is a huge bump up, a huge improvement from the previous year. In terms of the front camera, it is only a 16 megapixel shooter. And while it does a fairly decent job, if you remove all these AI touch-up features and stuff like that, you put nothing whatsoever, it does a fairly decent job in this sort of studio lighting and in daylight. I tend to think a lot of Android devices, barring the Pixel, tend to overprocess the image. I don't know, maybe it's a matter of choice, it's subjective, but you could get a better image potentially on a Pixel and an iPhone. But of course, those are in another league when it comes to price. This one is catching up very fast, and I can understand why they're calling this the flagship killer. There's also this 100x tele lens, which I'm very curious about, but I haven't had the perfect opportunity to test that. We will be testing that further on Tech Today. But in terms of the device, it comes in two color options, white and black, and in two memory options as well. There's two variants when it comes to RAM, 12 GB or 16 GB. In terms of storage, you get a standard 256 GB on this device. The younger brother with 12 GB costs you 52,999, and the elder one with 16 gigs of RAM costs you 57,999. Now, is this a phone which is a true bang for your buck? If you're okay with FunTouch OS, the operating system, and the way it operates, then this is something you must consider. It also gives you almost DSLR-like shots using that 64 megapixel telephoto lens. It looks really, really sleek. In terms of the front camera, yes, it could have been better. It is optimized for gaming, literally with a bunch of things that make your gaming experience much better. The display, the brightness, and the sound's fairly decent too. At this price point, one thing I can definitely vouch for is that it is one of the most bang for your buck flagship killers in the market out there. And of course, it comes with the mighty Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the iQOO 12 exclusively on Tech Today.